This video is brought to you by Sporlan. Quality, integrity, and tradition.
So today's complaint is a walk-in freezer. When they got here at 6 a.m. this morning, the temps were high. They said it was about 25 degrees. I was a little concerned when I saw the frost right there, but it's not frozen up. So this is a shopping mall location. So I'm gonna have to get up onto the roof and we'll check and see. This panel looks loose, so I'll open this up and just look in there, see what's going on, but then we'll have to get up on the roof and gauge up. So I found this with the superheat nut missing and this cap missing, which kind of sucks, but I don't know if those are the problems. We're going to confirm accuracy on the temp control. That can be kind of tricky, so I'm going to turn it. I don't know the wind noise you're getting. So currently right now it's set for -15. We want to see where it clicks at. Looks like we might have a bad temperature controller because it's clicking at like -15 and it's currently about 20 degrees in the box. So we're going to jump on the roof, check the charge, and then maybe change the temp control. As we come into the fall, it's currently October right now, and we get colder mornings. We gotta be really careful working on shopping mall roofs. I'm working on a shopping mall right now and I'm walking over to my equipment. In the summertime, this really isn't much of an issue unless it's raining. But this one has this rubber roof, I can't remember what they call it, but it becomes very slippery when it becomes wet. But when it gets icy outside, it's like an ice skating rink. Your best bet is to try to stay on the paths if possible. Even on the paths, it can be real icy and really slippery, but you always want to be careful. Where I'm at, it gets really cold and we have frost up in the mountain area. I'm up in the high desert, and we have frost, and we have, so these roofs can become basically like ice skating rinks. So I know you guys in the Midwest probably know all about this, but just want to be careful when you're walking on these roofs. Make sure you stay on the paths, especially in the wintertime. But even in the wintertime, it can still be slippery even on the path. So this is my equipment right here. Come up onto the roof and you can clearly see that sight glass is flashing. It's not horrible. We'll just clear up the sight glass. Definitely think that their problem is the temperature controller and we're just a little short on gas. I can tell by looking at it, it's really not going to take much. And in all honesty, it's probably just that missing Schrader cap downstairs, but we'll definitely look at the big picture, go through everything, check everything out properly. Just pulled the cover off so I can put my probes on there, and I'm just kind of visually inspecting anything. I don't see any oil up here. We've got some flares up here. There's no oil accumulation on those. Looking at the compressor contactor, it doesn't look amazing just from looks. Looks like we've got some pitting going on. It's a possibility we'll go ahead and change that contactor. But again, we're just kind of looking at everything, seeing what we could do, see if we see any issues. I'm going to go ahead and put some probes on here, check the running pressures, and then we'll go from there. Pressures don't look horrible. Don't mind all this sear. I just didn't bother setting anything up. I'm just getting pressures. Interestingly enough, though, the sight glass is clear. So it's running clear at the moment. We know that we saw a problem with the temp control. Let's go ahead and take a look at this compressor contactor. See if we, what kind of voltage we have coming into it, and then we're gonna test the line voltage coming in. .7, 205.7, 206, 204, 205, 206. Test for voltage drop. Nothing, but I still don't like the way that contactor looks. We're also in a very sandy area, so if I have one of those contactors, I'll go ahead and replace that as a preventative thing. But I'm pretty confident that our problem is the temperature controller downstairs, because You saw how it was saying it was turning on and off at like -15 when it was positive 20 degrees in the box. So probably change that, and possibly if I have one, we'll go to a digital control. So I like to pre-wire these controls outside of the box. Put a wire nut here instead of jumping 2 wires on that one little terminal, because it makes it really difficult. So we can put it together, and then we just got to make final connections inside the walk-in. Alright, so I've got the pre-wired control right here, all ready to go. I'm thinking about installing it right here. No, I'll install it on the wall. Yeah, it'll be better. I oftentimes talk myself out of things because I think of like what they're gonna stack boxes all up right here and ruin something or whatever. Try to bring in everything that I needed so that way. Oh look, sweet. Got a spot for the control too. So we can go ahead and get the control mounted. Mounted right back in here. I like these Ronco ETC 141s for walk-in freezer controls. I've always been a Ronco fan. Lately I've been using the Dixel, the Key to Therm Temp Plus Defrost if I'm working on a walk-in cooler. For just the basic, easy temp controls. Alright, so we've got electrical right there. We'll go ahead and go in one of these spots right here. That's the freaking thing. Oh well. I'll use this right here. I'll keep them from stacking that crap right there anyways. Where's this one at? Right there. Push that out of there. Down there, we'll deal with that in a few minutes. Pull that out. There. We'll have to make sure that we get that secured so that the wires don't touch the heater. Zip tie it up. We're gonna make this pretty tight so that way there's no slack for them to break it. Okay, so that's gonna go like that. Strip this long. Okay. I keep this SJ cord. I got the 14.4 and I keep that in my truck. It's very versatile and you can use it for a lot of different things. Damn, glove ripped. All right. Just personally for field work, if I have white wires, I just tape them up. I like the idea of the pink wire because you can use that for your switched leg. That's why I like this SJ cord. It's good stuff. tape it off. I remember taking I think it was the NATE test. I think it was, and it was the stupidest question in the world on the test, and it said, in an electrical system on 115 volts, which wire can you grab while the circuit is live? And they didn't give you a choice of a ground wire. So I thought it was the stupidest question, because you never grab any wires when the system is live, not even a ground wire. You never know. So anytime and what the answer they were looking for, I answered it with the right answer, was the white, the neutral leg. But that's the stupidest question in the world. Should never grab a wire that's energized in the circuit. Just thought that was ridiculous. Go grab my screwdriver. I'm kind of being lazy right now. Oh, there we go. Wonder what happened to the, oh, cool, I found the superheat nut. That's awesome. It's in the bottom of the coil. Sweet. I'll get it in a minute. I was wondering how I was going to get that. Okay, so this is my neutral, sweet, and this is my switched leg, or my hot leg, which will be my switched leg. Circuit's completely dead. This will be my switched leg. And then we'll tie into the neutral here in just a minute. Okay, so we will secure that to the top of the box to keep it from touching the heater. For now though, I will bring these wires back here, because we're going to try to clean this mess up, keep it organized and neat. There we go. Alright, so this will be my power. This is a 208 single phase evaporator coil, walk-in freezer coil with electric defrost. So this will be my switched leg, which will give power to that. Cool. And then this will end up going to these wires right here. Then we should be able to fire it up. Go get some zip ties. We'll zip tie all this stuff up. Get this old control out of here. We'll get it turned on and set up. Alright, I need to get some stuff to take that apart. Alright, I think I can take this out, take this out. Try to grab the things I don't need, clean up after myself. I'm really bad at doing that, so trying to be better. Alright, some zip ties. First we're going to start with this top one. Get this zip tied up. About right there. These are the zip ties with the screw holes. They do serve a purpose. Sometimes they get annoying, but sometimes they really help you. Okay. So that'll keep this from touching the defrost heater. These guys zip tied right here. Keep them in a nice safe place. Looks like someone left the screw out of this solenoid valve. I gotta put that in there too. I'll make everything in here a little bit safer, like that. And then I could screw this to the back wall and be safe with that. Okay, there's that. And then we're gonna get a screw in that, get that tightened down. I hate it when the screw gets lost on these things. There we go. Got the nut free. Okay. Got to get the water out of this, it's frozen. So I'm gonna have to come up with a heat source. I'll get that. Get this temp control removed. I don't like to leave this extra stuff in here. If it's easy enough, I like to remove it. I'm not gonna say I've never left certain situations. You might find it easier to leave parts in there, but okay, I need to go get a different tool. Okay, super heat nut's not coming off. Let's get this guy out. Okay. Temp control's off. Let's go ahead and get this bracket out of here. Okay. Good to go. Nice and safe. I need to come up with a nut with a screw for this solenoid valve. I don't have one. Kind of sucks. Let's do this. This nice and safe. That way it's not rubbing up against anything. Just in case, I might have to come back with the screw for this solenoid valve. I don't see it in the drain pan at all. Okay, so we're good there. We're good there. This up in here. Push those out. There we go. All right. So now I need to mount the sensing bulb for the temp control. Nice and stiff from being in the freezer. It's cold in here. It's just not as cold as it should be, is it? One of the things too is, if I can, I like to get the sensing bulb for the thermostat off the coil and get it onto the back wall. I prefer them to be on the back wall. As long as you can get them to where they're not touching the metal, it's, in my opinion, the best place they can be. Okay. And I need to move over a little bit. Ooh, it's gonna be kind of crappy. Yeah, about right there will be good. I can probably zip tie that up a little bit more. One more zip tie right here. Okay. Get that. Okay. So then now I need to mount that over there. That'll be okay. I can get that. Gotta be careful on these Ronco controls. These new sensing bulbs, you can break them. They're flexible. They're not the hard plastic that they used to be. Be very careful. So what I like about these zip ties with the holes is they create an offset and hold the sensing bulb off the wall. It's really nice. Get in there and mount this thing where it's supposed to be. Drill it. And get it started and just go a little bit in. Like I said, be careful when you're tightening these things too, because you will break the sensing bulb. I know that from experience. Okay. Okay, that works. So, sensing bulbs back in there, mounted, safe, away from the wall. We're secured, nice and tight here. I'll tighten that a little bit more. Everything in here is good, so we can turn it back on. All right, so let's go ahead and test the control. Turn it up way high. It clicked. Listen again, we'll turn it on. Set for -10. There we go. So it's working. So the last thing I'm going to do is I have a thermometer that's accurate. I'm going to set it next to this control, leave it here for a few minutes, and come back and make sure that the control is reading accurate. All right. So pretty darn accurate. I'm good with that. We'll go ahead and there you go. Compensate right there. So we're gonna go ahead and put the panels back on, go up on the roof, check the charge. I have a feeling I might just put a little gas in there, but it wasn't even low enough to really be worried about it. I guess still gotta come up with a screw for this solenoid valve. I don't have one, and I gotta get a cap on this guy, so. Okay, so got the nut. I ended up having a screw. I just stole it from a good valve. I'll steal it from a bad coil when I change one soon. That back on, everything's good. Got an even frost pattern on the coil. We're looking good, so I'm gonna wrap this up. All right, so we still have bubbles every once in a while. I really don't think it's a big deal. We're gonna go ahead and clear them real quick. I have a feeling the bubbles are just, like I said, it goes away every few minutes. So we're just gonna go ahead and, you know, add a couple ounces, clear it permanently, and then I'm gonna go ahead and get started on changing this contactor. All right, it's clear now. It literally just took a couple ounces. So we're gonna go ahead and pull the gauge off, and then I'm gonna shut it down, and we're gonna do this contactor now. Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and verify that power's off. It is. Power's dead. Dead. Power's dead. So we're safe. I shut it down at the disconnect. Let's swap out this contactor real quick. It will not take long. All right. Those are line voltage. We're gonna do. We don't want to get confused here, so we got to be careful about not undoing too many wires at the same time. It's not like I can't figure it out, but try not to work too hard here. Okay. All right, so just pull these out like this. Do them like this, a little bit at a time. Okay. All right, we're almost there. So we're gonna start pulling these wires off. This is line 3. Line 2. Line 1. Coil voltage. These guys always go so crazy putting these contactors in. You only need 2 screws. One on each corner, top and bottom corner, and this contactor will never come out. Okay. Now we just need to do the bottom of the contactor real quick. Okay, and then just go ahead and pop these guys off. One at a time. Kind of doing this a little blind because I can't see down there. All right. I'm gonna have to get down on my knees here. There we go. Just hooking up the connectors. Blue and red go in the middle. I should say red and yellow. Mixing my colors up a little bit. Okay, there's that. And then blue is last. There we go. Last one. Okay, tighten these guys up that aren't being used. Knock on wood, should be able to turn it on and nothing blows up in our face. Here we go. So we're good. Let's put it into defrost, make sure it turns off. should be pumping down right now. Make sure the contactor's working correctly. Works good. Okay. So we're all good now. Sight glass is clear. Everything's good. Contactor's in. The old one, you know, it wasn't completely failed, but it was starting to pit in there. So cool. Preventatively, we got that taken care of. We're in a very sandy environment up here, so we got to take care of those before they become problems. Walk-in freezer's running. We should be good.
All right, we had a service call on a walk-in freezer that wasn't working properly. And the first thing that happened when I arrived was I walked into the box. The evaporator fan motors were running. I saw some frost or some ice accumulation on the suction line, which kind of made me think it was frozen up, but it wasn't. It actually, I noticed that the temperature controller thought that the box was cold enough when it wasn't. So when I arrived, the box was in the 20s, and the temperature controller was turning on and off at -10, -15, whatever it was. So that is a mechanical thermostat. It is a Johnson A19 something 40C or something like that, I think is a single pole, single throw thermostat part number. But I like them. They're good controls, but they do go out of calibration after a certain amount of time. Okay. You know, there's ups and downs, goods and bads to all kinds of controls. You know, if I'm trying to save money, I'll use an A19 mechanical control, or for certain other reasons sometimes. But in this instance, I decided to go back in with a digital, but the control was just basically turning on and off at the wrong temperature. So I went ahead and changed it. But also, looking at the big picture like I always do, I saw that the screw was missing out of the top of the solenoid valve. That's not good. That can cause some buzzing and some issues there. So I put the screw back in the top of the solenoid coil. And then also noticed that the nut on the bottom of the expansion valve was missing, the superheat adjustment nut. So put that back on. I found it in the bottom of the coil. And then also noticed that there was a Schrader cap missing, okay, which can cause refrigerant leaks. So took care of all those issues. And then just went through everything up on the roof, just looking at the shape of the equipment. You got to know the areas that you work in. So that was up in the desert area where we get a lot of blowing sand. And we really got to watch out for contactors that get caked with sand, basically, because it causes issues and causes them not to work right. So, you know, just preventatively looking at everything, found that the contactor was kind of pitted, went ahead and replaced the contactor also. And other than that, everything else is good. This was a pretty straightforward service call, really nothing too crazy. You know, I really don't see anything too difficult with it. I really appreciate you guys taking the time to watch these videos. Keep in mind, I do live streams Monday evenings, work permitting, at 5 p.m. Pacific time on this YouTube channel. I go live, usually go for about an hour to an hour and a half, depending on how many questions are coming in. I try to answer questions. I take that time to address questions from emails, Facebook comments, YouTube comments, and then also there's a live chat going on, which sometimes is a whole nother world. But then there's tons of comments and live questions that I try to address too. So it really just depends on how many questions we have. I might take it to an hour and a half. If you guys get a chance, come check it out. Any questions that you guys have, please, please, please email me, hvacrvideos@gmail.com. I'm always willing to accept criticism. If you guys have something that you think I did wrong, or you have a better way, or even you just say, hey, I think I do it this way, let me know. Any way you want to hit me up. I'm on all the social media platforms. Well, I shouldn't say all of them. I'm on Instagram and Facebook under HVACR videos. I think there's something under Twitter too, but I really don't pay too much attention to that. But same thing under HVACR videos. I think I mentioned my email, hvacrvideos@gmail.com. And that's pretty much it, okay? I really appreciate it, and we'll catch you guys on the next one.